It's important to understand exactly how a bill becomes law in the state of Texas, and that's just what we'll learn in this video lesson. The process starts by introducing a bill. First, a representative or a senator gets an idea for a bill by listening to the people he or she represents and then working to solve their problem. A bill may also grow out of the recommendations of an interim committee study conducted when the legislatures are not in session. The idea is researched to determine what state law needs to be changed or created to best solve the problem. A bill is then written by the legislator. Often with legal assistance from the Texas Legislative Council, a legislative agency which provides bill drafting services, research assistance, computer support, and other services for legislators. Once a bill has been written or introduced by a member of the House or Senate in the member's own chamber, sometimes similar bills about a particular issue are introduced in both houses at the same time by a representative and senator working together. However, any bill increasing taxes or raising money for use by the state must start in the House of Representatives. House members and senators can introduce bills on any subject during the first 60 calendar days of a regular session. After 60 days, the introduction of any bill other than a local bill or a bill related to an emergency declared by the governor requires the consent of at least 4/5 of the members present and voting in the House or 4/5 of the membership. After a bill has been introduced, a short description of the bill called a caption is read aloud while the chamber is in session so that all of the members are aware of the bill and its subject. This is called the first reading, and it's the point in the process where the presiding officer assigns the bill to a committee. This assignment is announced on the chamber floor during the first reading of the bill. The second step is the committee process. The chair of each committee decides when the committee will meet and which bills will be considered. The House rules permit a House committee or subcommittee to meet. First, in a public hearing where testimony is heard and where official action may be taken on bills, resolutions, and other matters. Second, in a formal meeting where the members may discuss and take official action without hearing public testimony. Or third, in a work session for discussion of matters before the committee without taking formal action. In the Senate, testimony may be heard and official action may be taken at any meeting of a Senate committee or subcommittee. Public testimony is almost always solicited on bills, allowing citizens the opportunity to present arguments on different sides of an issue. A House committee or subcommittee holding a public hearing during a legislative session must post notice of the hearing at least 5 calendar days before the hearing during a regular session and at least 24 hours in advance. For a formal meeting or a work session, written notice must be posted and sent to each member of the committee 2 hours in advance of the meeting. Or an announcement must be filed with the Journal Clerk and read while the House is in session. A Senate committee or subcommittee must post notice of the meeting at least 24 hours in advance. After considering a bill, a committee may choose to take no action or may issue a report on the bill. The committee report expressing the committee's recommendations regarding action on a bill includes a record of the committee's vote on the report, the text of the bill as reported by the committee, a detailed bill analysis, and a fiscal note or other impact statement as necessary. The report is then printed and a copy is distributed to every member of the House or Senate. In the House, a copy of the committee report is sent to either the Committee on Calendars or the Committee on Local and Consent Calendars for placement on a calendar for consideration by the full House. In the Senate, local and non-controversial bills are scheduled for Senate consideration by the Senate Administration Committee. All other bills in the Senate are placed in the regular order of business for consideration by the full Senate in the order in which the bills are purported from Senate committee. A bill on the regular order may not be brought up for floor consideration unless the Senate sponsor of the bill has filed a written notice of intent to suspend the regular order of business for consideration of the bill. The third action is floor action. When a bill comes up for consideration by the full House or Senate, it receives its second reading. The bill is read again by caption only and then debated by the full membership of the chamber. Any member may offer an amendment, but it must be approved by a majority of the members present and voting to be adopted. The members then vote on whether to pass the bill. The bill is then considered by the full body again on third reading and final passage. A bill may be amended again on third reading, but amendments at this stage require a 2/3 majority for adoption. This constitutional rule may be suspended by a 4/5 vote of the House in which the bill is pending. The Senate routinely suspends this constitutional provision in order to give a bill an immediate third reading after its second reading is considered. The House, however, rarely suspends this provision, and the third reading of a bill in the House normally occurs on the day following its second reading consideration. In either house, a bill may be passed on a voice vote or a record vote. In the House, record votes are tallied by an electronic vote board controlled by buttons on each member's desk. In the Senate, record votes are taken by calling the roll of the members. If a bill receives a majority vote on third reading, it is considered passed. When a bill is passed in the House where it originated, the bill is engrossed and a new copy of the bill which incorporates all corrections and amendments is prepared and sent to the opposite chamber for consideration. In the second House, the bill follows basically the same steps it followed in the first House. When the bill is passed in the opposite House, it is returned to the originating chamber with any amendments that have been adopted and simply called a bill. If a bill is returned to the originating chamber without amendments, it is put in final form, signed by the Speaker and Lieutenant Governor, and sent to the Governor. Action on the other House's amendments and conference committees is the fourth step. If a bill is returned to the originating chamber with amendments, the originating chamber can either agree to the amendments or request a conference committee to work out differences between the House version and the Senate version. If approved by both houses, the bill is signed by the presiding officers and sent to the Governor. Fifth step is Governor's action. Upon receiving the bill, the Governor has 10 days in which to sign the bill, veto it, or allow it to become law without a signature. governor vetoes the bill and the legislature is still in session, the bill is returned to the House in which it originated with an explanation of the governor's objections. A two-thirds majority in each house is required to override a veto. If the governor neither votes nor signs the bill within 10 days, the bill becomes a law. If the bill is sent to the governor within 10 days of final adjournment, the governor has until 20 days after the final adjournment to sign the bill, veto it, or allow it to become law without a signature. Now let's talk about constitutional amendments. Proposed amendments to the Texas Constitution are in the form of joint resolutions instead of bills and require a vote of two-thirds of the entire membership in each house. Joint resolutions are not sent to the governor for approval but are filed directly with the Secretary of State. A joint resolution proposing an amendment to the Texas Constitution does not become effective until it is approved by Texas voters in a general election.